Hello everybody. Thank you for joining me for your weekly reading for the week of March 30th to April 5th, 2020. Keep in mind time and energy are fluid, so these messages can apply any which way. Don't force it if it doesn't fit. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I hope you have had a beautiful weekend. Yes, I just put out the weekend love readings. I do these back to back, and so I tend to say week when it's the weekend and weekend when it's the week. But yeah, so I did just put out the weekend love readings. I got those out on Friday night, late Friday night, 10:30 or something. But yeah, that said, I was meditating on the energies. Nothing really came through. Spirit just wants me to really just get into the reading. So we're going to take a deep breath and connect deeper with our higher selves and spirits, and we're going to get into the reading. Call to Spirit to please help myself and anyone watching this to hear, see, and know anything we need to hear, see, and know for the week of March 30th to April 5th, 2020. We're going to be using Golden Dawn Tarot, Dragon Tarot, and the Animal Messages. Likely going to be clarifying with a couple of other decks, but we will see how it goes as per the usual. So we're going to do 3 shuffles, and we're going to get started with the energies for the week. Deck and see what we have. Okay, we have Prince of Wands, we have the Hierophant reverse, King of Swords reverse, what was that, Queen of Wands, King of Cups, High Priestess. We have almost all court cards on the table. So we'll see where this goes. Spirit's telling me this is likely going to turn into a love reading, just based on the fact that we have so many court cards. This can apply to the internal masculine and feminine energies, keep in mind not gender specific. But when I see this many court cards, especially given the fact that we have counterparts almost, I mean we have the King of Cups and Queen of Wands, but to me counterparts would be of the same suit. So the fact that we have the Queen of Wands here and the Prince of Wands over there, this to me feels like the counterpart situation with possibly a new relationship. But I'm kind of drawn to this Hierophant reverse. When I see the Hierophant in reverse, that tells me you may be held in a state of, you may be held to dogmatic beliefs that necessarily aren't true to your experience. You may be caught up in traditions that aren't true to your experience, traditions that don't resonate with you. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here with this. This is a very similar energy that came out for, I don't know what, it might have been Sagittarius. I don't know which sign it was. It was a very similar energy. So with the Queen of Wands as the overall energy clarified by the King of Cups and the High Priestess, I'm feeling like right now there are some things that may be hidden in the context of a relationship. And it's pertaining more so to this new person that you may be dealing with. So it feels like there's multiple people involved. It's feeling like there is a third party that is kind of giving their input into the situation that may not be coming from a place of having your best interest in mind. And that's what I'm seeing here with this King of Swords reverse. King of Swords reverse to me represents somebody who is very, very hard-headed, very stubborn. I mean, I guess you could also see that with the King of Pentacles reverse, but what I'm seeing here particularly with this King of Swords, given the King of Swords and the sword energy in general is a masculine energy, it is the suit of communication. This can represent somebody who is being very manipulative, being diplomatic to the point of controlling. So manipulative, controlling, really just stubborn in general. And so it feels like that is what is standing in between this new relationship and you, or perhaps this new person, or maybe just your own new way of life. So I'm feeling like this can go a couple of ways. This can apply to a situation in which you are the Queen of Wands, if you don't resonate with feminine energy as much and you feel like you are more so resonate with masculine energy, I feel like that is also coming here through the King of Cups. So I feel like this can apply to the masculine and the feminine. I feel like this is a situation that can apply so many different ways given it is a collective reading. Particularly what I'm seeing though, if this is in terms of a life path, soul mission type of thing, I'm seeing that you may be in a stage of having to really let go of a lot of people, or not even just a lot of people, but maybe there's just somebody in your life that you know you can't really keep around if you want to continue to grow the way you want to grow. It's like the situation where you're growing and people aren't really growing at the rate you're growing, and by doing so, you're growing away from people, you're growing past people. There's a particular phrase I'm looking for. It's outgrowing people, I guess is what it would be. Just going on different paths, but I feel like it's either you being caught in your head about this, which I'm seeing here with the Hierophant reverse and the King of Swords reverse. You're caught in your head about whether you should walk away from, situations and people that are no longer serving what it is you want out of life. And it's not serving in the sense of like you're using people to get what you want, but just recognizing when there's a disconnect and when you guys aren't really resonating or in the same frequency band, if you will. And that's what the High Priestess is here to show you right now. When I see the High Priestess, to me that represents, it's very similar to the Star. The Star to me feels like an external, universal type of energy, and while the High Priestess is a major arcana card, to me it does represent the internal lessons being revealed to you right now. And so the High Priestess, you see this figure here with a cup, the cup of truth, the cup of love, and it's really learning to see the deeper lesson that's presenting itself to you, particularly in the adversity you may be facing. And so it's learning to trust yourself in the face of this adversity, learning to know yourself well enough to make the decisions that are right for you and trust in those decisions and own up to the mistakes that you do make. So let's say you make a decision, you choose to walk away from somebody, or you choose a new way of life. You're going to have to own up to the consequences of that, cause and effect type of thing. But we're going to clarify a bit here. I want to get some clarification regarding just all of these cards. Especially considering this is going towards not only a relationship but a life path, but I feel like they're intertwining. So if you don't resonate with one side of it, just take what resonates, again, leave what doesn't. But I'm going to clarify these. We have clarifying the Prince of Wands. Move these cards. We have the Queen of Cups reverse. So now we have counterparts on the table. Let's see. Clarifying the Hierophant reverse, we have the Eight of Pentacles. And clarifying the King of Swords reverse, we have the Three of Pentacles reverse. Bottom of the deck isn't really resonating with me. I mean, it's the Queen of Wands reverse. We already have the Queen of Wands out. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that at the bottom and just not include it. So if we're looking at this in terms of counterparts, because the fact that we have King of Cups and now the Queen of Cups, to me this represents counterpart situation. Could be twin flame, could be soulmate, whatever resonates with you. But what I'm seeing particularly with this Three of Pentacles reverse, right now things are definitely not feeling balanced. It doesn't feel like there's any kind of reciprocity in the connection due to the fact that there are so many conflicting energies on the table. There are so many different just like hands in the cookie jar, if you will. But we have the Eight of Pentacles here. What the Eight of Pentacles represents to me in the context of this clarification and reading, it's feeling like in order to really build and move forward, because Eight of Pentacles to me represents building upon the foundation you've already built. So really building upon the foundation is going to require you to make some necessary adjustments with the relationships in your lives. So you're going to have to kind of audit your relationships, you know what I mean? Take a look at who's around you, if they're actually supportive of what you do, and if they're actually really helping you grow into the person you want to be. Because I feel like a lot of the times as we grow on our own paths, we tend to stick in relationships because we feel obligated, or because we've known them for so long, or we have a history, or whatever it is. And we tend to sacrifice parts of ourselves for people without realizing we're doing so, because we may have been doing it for so long. And so it's the need to recognize the fact that you may be sacrificing yourself, but by doing so, you're holding your life path back. You're holding yourself from getting to where you want to be because you're staying loyal to people who may not have your best interests in heart. But we're going to clarify it with the Mystical Cat Tarot here. I'm going to do the seams. Okay, So what do we got here? Clarifying these two, we have the Sea Kitten, which I believe is the Page of Cups. We have the Six of Pentacles, which is interesting because Reciprocity came up earlier. Now we have the Six of Pentacles clarifying these. We have the Nine of Cups reverse clarifying these. Bottom of the deck, we do have the Two of Wands. So you may very well be at a crossroads. That's definitely the energy that's coming through here. Crossroad type of energy. Feeling trapped in between a rock and a hard place is what I'm hearing. But I'm drawn to the Six of Pentacles. To me, the Six of Pentacles, it can represent reciprocity in a relationship. It can represent balance in a particular area of your life, but it also represents give and take. And so it's causing you to evaluate whether there is a fair amount of give and take within this relationship. Because now it's looking like we're focusing on the energy between... I'm seeing multiple relationships here. So I'm seeing this Queen of Wands and this Prince of Wands. But the Prince of Wands to me represents somebody who's still a little bit immature, somebody who's still fresh on the dating scene perhaps, or maybe they just don't have as much emotional intelligence that is required to move forward with somebody who's in their queen status. But we also have the King of Cups here with this Queen of Cups reverse. So we can look at this a few different ways. So let's take a look up here at this Queen of Wands, Prince of Wands situation. What I'm seeing here is there is a lesson that is not being acknowledged right now, and it feels like there's an energy between both of you that needs to be let go. And it may not always represent another person, because we do have the 3 on the table, so this can represent, you know, like an extra person in the mix. It doesn't need to be, and it doesn't really feel like a romantic mix. It feels like maybe there's like a friend, a mutual friend, or there's somebody within the context of this relationship that is trying to just give input where it doesn't need to be given. And I feel like the lesson not being acknowledged is either you or this other person needs to recognize that and set a boundary, or just completely, you know, walk away from whatever it is you feel you need to walk away from. Because what I'm seeing with this person here, this King of Swords reverse, we have the Nine of Cups reverse, which to me represents overindulgence, selfishness to the point of detriment, I suppose. Just overly selfish, overly self-indulgent, very, very self-centered and narcissistic. And it feels like somebody who, they just want things to be all about them and not about the other person. So this can also apply to the dynamics between you two. So if you're this Queen of Wands feminine energy and you're dealing with a masculine counterpart perhaps, and this person is in that very selfish energy because they don't have the emotional intelligence to recognize when they should and shouldn't speak on certain things, ask for certain things, act in certain ways. And so it's this energy of feeling like you have to kind of like babysit them. You have to be their parent. And I really don't think anybody wants that in a relationship. And so maybe that's where this Two of Wands energy is coming from. It's like I see the Eight of Pentacles here. Like you do want to build with them, and you do see a future with this person in some kind of way. But the fact that there's the Six of Pentacles here clarifying these, it's like the lesson between you two right now is recognizing that there needs to be an equal give and take. But before you can even set that boundary of what it looks like, you need to understand what you do need opposed to what you want, and vice versa. But also learning to communicate that in a way that isn't going to make the other person feel like they aren't enough in the relationship. So then it's trying to find the balance between like how to communicate with somebody without being super narcissistic or self-centered, but also staying true to yourself and your needs and values in a relationship. So what I'm seeing with the Sea Kitten, Knight of Cups, there is that energy of needing to come through, in a healthy, playful kind of way, having that emotional conversation, you know, telling somebody how you really feel about them, which can clear up a lot of discrepancies in the relationship. But now we're going to take our attention down to these counterparts down here, because we have the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. But what I find interesting is we do have the Sea Kitten right where this Queen of Cups reverse is. So to me, this may feel like this feminine energy here is in a situation where they may... I'm seeing a couple of different things. I'm seeing somebody who may want to come forward and say particular things, but there's the sense of needing to heal and work around this Three of Pentacles reverse, that imbalance kind of nature. This person here feels like they need to really work through that and come into their own state of balance before they can come forward and make any kind of decision to move forward with this Eight of Pentacles and Six of Pentacles, excuse me. And so it's feeling like right now the reason that there isn't an equal give and take is because one, you or the other person is in a state of needing to come into balance. And let's be honest, like that has been the theme that has been coming out for the past couple of months. And I think the reason that's coming out so much is because it's a process. It's something that takes time. It's not something that can be done overnight. And there are different layers to heal that lead to us coming to a deeper sense of balance. And a lot of that, especially in counterpart type of situations, tends to be a very flowy type of nature. There's times where, we're just like connected at the hip and everything's going really well. But then there's other times where we're just like triggering each other and a lot of space is necessary. And so I'm feeling like that's what is going on right now between all of these counterparts, the queen and the prince, and then the king and the queen here. And so it's feeling like things are balancing out right now, and whatever space is happening for the sake of the relationship, but not just for the relationship, but for the individuals in the partnership. And it is a very similar message that came out last week for last week's collective reading. And I mean, literally the title was Separation is Necessary, I think it was, or Space is Necessary. And so I really feel like this is just a continuation of that energy. I feel like before, the energy was very decisive in terms of figuring out what it was you need and wanted before moving forward. And now it feels like it's more focused on the individual, opposed to last week's energy, which seemed to be focused on which direction the partnership was going to move. But now I'm feeling like I just said, we're turning this to the individual perspective. We're learning to balance the inner masculine and feminine aspects of ourselves as it pertains to this. We're going to clarify one last pull here. Because to me, it just seems a little vague, quite honestly. I mean, that can be just my own interpretations of the cards, but I feel like a lot of the times when there's so many people involved, the messages do tend to get a little bit vague, specifically when it has to do with the individual healing. Because it's subjective to everybody. Everybody's healing things differently. And so for me to really delve into every single person involved would take upwards of like an hour or more if I were to really clarify every single court card. But I'm just going to keep it kind of, short and clarify the overall messages and the lessons coming through for you. So clarifying here, we have the 5 of Pentacles, the 6 of Wands. What is that? The 5 of Cups reverse. I'm going to pull some here. We have a lot of 5s, like 3 5s so far. What is that? The 5 of Swords. And then, I guess I'll put that here, 3 of Pentacles. I'm not really drawn to the bottom of the deck either for this one. I mean, if you want to, it was a Prince of Pentacles, but it doesn't really fit in for what's coming through right now. What I'm feeling like, specifically considering the fact that we have every single 5 on the table except for the Wands, really just big change energy, honestly, 555, and you can't get any more directed than that. It's like we have the 5 of Pentacles, can represent being left out in the cold, can represent a shift in foundation, can represent a change in the physical material aspects of the relationship, so maybe redefining particular aspects of the relationship, making something more committed, making something less attached, whatever comes up for you in this partnership. But the fact that we have the 5 of Cups reverse, to me that's speaking of focusing too much on the pitfalls of the relationship. If you know anything about the 5 of Cups in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, it's the character focusing too much on the 2 spilled cups, where there's 3 filled cups behind them. So if you flip that around in the reverse, focusing too much on the 3 spilled cups when you have 2 full cups behind you. And so this can talk about the energy that came out earlier of listening too much to other people's opinions, not listening enough to your intuition, which the High Priestess seems like she's here to do for you, to get you to make a decision based off of your inner knowing, instead of like asking for advice all the time. Because I feel like it's okay to ask for advice, but there needs to be a balance of like taking things with a grain of salt and listening to our inner voice more often than taking other people's advice. But I'm also drawn to this 3 of Pentacles reverse because it's out twice. So I'm feeling like here, particularly with this 3 of Cups reverse, I'm feeling like this is a cycle. And that's what I'm being drawn to. This is a cycle of action that has been repeating itself. And in order to move out of that cycle, there needs to be inaction and separation to a degree. And like I said, this does seem to be a continuation of last week's. So the messages feel very similar, almost repetitive to some extent. But the beautiful thing about this here is we do have the Five of Swords. This can represent conflict, yes, but it does feel like a healthy conflict. And so I'm feeling like whatever these counterparts, this looks like two different relationships I'm looking at right now. Whatever you are going through, it's really going to lead to the Six of Wands, because the Six of Wands is the center energy of this entire spread, closing out the, final clarifications. The Six of Wands can represent the card of victory. It is a card of Leo, which can also represent the sun, can also represent new beginnings. And so it's feeling like everything going on right now, it feels really hectic, it feels very confusing, it feels like there's a lot of veils being covered right now. A lot of veils are being used to sheathe some of the deeper workings of the relationships to get you to trust your intuition a bit more. Without sounding too cliche, that's something that does tend to come through with this High Priestess energy. Learning to trust your intuition and go within more often than without. So, I mean, that's honestly all that's really coming out here. I'm going to do a closing message here with the animal messages, but I feel like just Spirit's final advice to you is to focus on the Six of Wands over everything that's going on. Focus on the fact that there is a victory at hand. Focus on the fact that this is going to lead to more stable foundations, both within yourself and within a relationship. Closing message, though. Wow, I didn't mess up the cards. 2 for 2. Cool. So let's clarify here. Closing message for you. We're actually going to do 2. We have the dolphin. I have not gotten dolphin, so I'm excited. And we have the deer. It seems to be coming out a lot lately. Dolphin says, tune into the rhythm of your breath to find stillness and patience. I really don't know a better way to say it than what just came out for the final closing message. It really feels like Spirit is guiding you into yourself right now. You need to go inward. That is necessary. So before, the space was necessary, and now that's leading up into you going inward a bit more. So it's like an extension of the space, because, I mean, it's different for everybody. There's different types of space. It doesn't always mean like no communication at all. So it's looking like there could have been a little bit of communication over the course of the past week or so since the last reading, but it's looking like there's still that sense of moving in a way that is very cautious, and that's what's coming through with the deer, because it says take note of the messages in whispers and secrets adrift on the breeze. So I'm feeling like even though there is a lot of space right now, and even though you feel like you're at a crossroads, there does seem to be a lot of clarity available to you, but that's only going to be achieved if you look within and you stop focusing so much on the external presentation of things in your life. So, I mean, the dolphin, outside of what this message says here, the dolphin to me can represent higher wisdom. I believe it is an Atlantean symbol if you're into, Atlantis or Lemuria or any of those ancient civilizations and the mythological aspects of that. Then, this would be, kind of nudge to that. Like, say, if you're into past lives and you believe in past lives and you feel like you have Atlantean lineage or what have you, or you've been alive in Atlantis in a past life, this can represent the ancestral karma that's coming up because of that. It can represent past life karma that's coming up for you right now, which is representative of this situation. And it's getting you to reevaluate power imbalances within all of your connections, but not only how it pertains to the other person, but how you may be interacting without yourself and how you contribute to the power dynamics in your relationships. So I think just a final closing message from Spirit right now, reiteration of earlier, focus on the Six of Wands, focus on the victory, focus on the small wins, you know what I mean? You don't have to focus so much on the bigger picture of, yes, focus on the bigger picture, but you don't have to focus on the ending outcome of whatever relationship you're dealing with right now, and really focus on the small wins within yourself. Like, take note of how far you've grown, take note of which particular situations don't affect you the way they used to, and really just revel in your growth. But I don't really know what else to say here. That's all that's coming through. I love you all so much, and I hope you have a beautiful week. If you would like to book a personal reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. But that does conclude this weekly reading for March 30th, almost at 27th or 23rd, mixing up all the days. So this concludes the March 30th to April 5th reading 2020, and I will see you in your next reading. Bye-bye.